we have a different view. And this time from our chief guest, Mr. Arun Maira. Please address the audience and give us your view.
Thank you very much, Benedict. For me, it's personally a moment in which I don't know what I'm supposed to say. And the reason I was invited by Benedict, that CK was a deep personal friend. He was a deep personal friend. And I didn't know how to start, but when you mentioned that this business festival, business literature festival, is the only one that concentrates on business books, and the others about business and economy, and business and society, or just society and economy. And my discussions with C.K. Prahalad, which commenced in 1980s, were at the time when he was a professor at an American business school and very well respected, where the thesis was the business of business must be only business. And that, for a person from India who taught in IIM many years before, and a Gandhian, like he felt I was, acceptable. What are the boundaries of business? And where do they cut off from the boundaries of the environment and the boundaries of society? They can't be a hard boundary. So when you say the business of business must be only business, the question is, what is the business of business? CK and I then got to engage together in a very unusual mission. Gorbachev, in the 1989, it was the last years, before, as you know, he said that he wanted to open up the Soviet Union and the Soviet economy. Gorbachev turned to Rajiv Gandhi, who were personal friends, and said, India is the country which is not communist, unlike China. And he wanted to get away from that image of the Soviet Union being communist. And India is not pure capitalist, unlike the United States, which was their big enemy. Maybe there's something that we could share notes about and we could learn from India. So C.K. Prahalad, myself, and N. Vagul, chairman of ICICI, we were sent on a very secret mission. Discussions with the Soviet Academy of Sciences, all closed with mics, and checked in the KGB. Nothing to be said publicly, because for two reasons, I guess. That right now, neither side wanted to be seen too close to the other, to affirm the power that was emerging. So he and I, DK and I, broadened the discussion into the role of business in the economy, and I was there rightly, because they said Tata's is an example of a business who doesn't see its business only as business. It is about the upliftment of everyone in society. Then I moved to the United States in 1989 itself. And CK next year, 1990, published his first very great book, The Core Competence of the Corporation, along with Gary Hamel. And Gary and CK fell out on the question of what should be the business model of a consulting practice based on that book. And so CK picked up and invited me home, and I spent lovely lunches, just he and I, the lunch cooked by Gayatri, his wife, who make it, sit and disappear, and we talked for long times in the place they stayed near the University of Michigan. And CK's heart was in India, and as was mine, and we were both wishing to consult, me to the United States at that time, and he, of course, to the world and to India also. But the core competence of the corporation was the book. The question, obviously, both of us are intellectual people, said, what should be or what is the core competence of the corporation? And this was a time in the world where this whole business of VUCA was sort of getting on in the 1990s already. The disruption being caused by technology were the good possibilities. They haven't been yet realized, but they should. Efficiency and simplifying and big consulting companies were emerging. Consulting companies based on technology and so on. So CK, I said, well, if the world is getting so disrupted, and what should then be, which core competency should a corporation choose for itself? Because who knows, it may not be relevant when the world has changed in 10 years. And we were talking short spans of 3 years, in 10 years. So I suggested to CK, that's something that I've been reading when I'd learned in Tata's, that the core competency of a corporation which endures, which can see itself, how changes in the economy, like India had been through, and Tata's had lived through and grown through all of that, serving the country. However, the core competence of an organization is to be a learning organization. That really intrigued CK. So, how do corporations learn? So, he and I became like friends and partners in exploring what a learning organization is and how organizations learn, which for me is the main. The lesson for all business people and public people, but business people, the only sustainable competitive advantage that any corporation can have is the ability to learn and change itself faster than all potential competition. You don't know where the potential competition is going to come from. So the Porter method of strategy of, make a set of competitors and they are already boxing people. You don't know how would be in that box next, whether from China or from some other industry. So that is them. Now the next book by C.K. Prahalad, which he probably won't talk about, but I have to. The Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid. Because C.K. wrote that book in 2004 alone. Gary Hamel was not involved because they had ideological differences about, the role of money. And the Fortune at the Bottom of the Pyramid is about business models, which help people at the bottom of the pyramid. And I had a disagreement with CK fundamentally. I said, the models that you are highlighting, many of them, not all of them, many of them about how large corporates are extracting profit from the bottom of the pyramid by providing accessible, cheap products or services, which is what we're doing with our platforms and our technology. So rather than creating wealth and profit at the bottom of the pyramid, you are extracting out of people's work profit for shareholders somewhere else. Now, he accepted that, but he said it's so embedded in us. Yes, that that's the only way you can run a corporation. Unless this idea changes and people accept it, yes, we will not be able to change and improve the world. And in India, because of Gandhiji and his idea of trusteeship, so it came together that that's what we must do think. But I'm going to broaden this, my discussion with CK, is we're talking then, as you know, even now, about a circular economy. That if you want to save the planet, you got to ensure the circulation of materials in the economy. Plastics, a great invention, very good for hygiene, for convenience, for economy, so on. But it doesn't disappear. It keeps accumulating as maybe useless stuff. Somewhere chokes up the entire material energy system of the world. So applying the same concept of circularity, the circulation of wealth in an economy. The models that went on with the business of business must be only business, and the success of a business is measured by how much wealth it creates for its investors, is that profit has been converted into wealth, and the wealth is accumulating with a few people. So, as you know, 1990s onwards, and well documented by several people, Piketty being just one of them, and very well documented, the proportion of wealth owned by a few has been increasing very fast. Portion has been increasing fast, and the numbers are in fact reducing. Few people are becoming trillionaires, many billionaires, and the people at the yes, their incomes are sort of increasing, but it's so precariously, as we heard in the discussion today. So those people are very secure. The rest are becoming more precarious to make, as you say, the circulation of wealth for the favor of those who already own the wealth. They use their wealth, put into venture capital and so on to make more wealth out of wealth. What their ventures do actually to the lives of people, no clue. So we have to change the model of the business, that the business should produce wealth and profit for the people who do the work. So they are giving their whole life and time and sweat. They must accumulate more wealth, because if they don't have more wealth, they have no power in the system. The wealthy have the power to determine what to do with their wealth whenever they feel like it, as well as to influence others to make policies which suit the same wealthy class. So, please, when you talk of social enterprise, a social enterprise, to my mind, cannot be connected with the stock market. Just think about it. They run on different principles. They create value for different people. So it comes with that to Mahatma Gandhi and the lesson, as CK and I would say, Anantodaya. If you are a business or a public policy leader, any idea of reform that you have or business model that you have, think about what it will do and to improve the lives of the poorest people around you. The poorest people around you. What it's going to do to improve your wealth and life and the wealth of other investors, where you borrow from, take from, and you exit. So I find it vulgar when people say that, I made my wealth, but timing my exits right, and their enterprises may disappear. Whereas Tata's is not about exiting from something. It's through tough times and rough times, finding a new way, go just to the new circumstances. It's for the sake of the people. Yes, Tata is a socialist enterprise. That's why we were invited to talk at the Soviet Union also. It's a capitalist enterprise. It runs business principles, very smart business managers. But their objectives are right. I'm going to develop my business model, produce benefits, not just for investors, but mostly for the common people. Thank you for giving me a chance to say what CK would have loved to say.